Yo, what's going on, boys? GZTV here, back with another video. This is the final video in the old setup. You won't see the neon sign and stuff in the background, but we'll have one more video in my dorm later tonight, going over the wildcard games for the weekend. So far, I'm 5 for 5. If the Rams win tonight, I'll go 6 for 6. And if they don't win, my bracket is busted because I actually have the Rams going to the conference championship. But that's besides the point. I'm gonna make this video quicker than the other weeks. We're just gonna kind of talk about the players for a little bit. At number 25 from the Sacramento Kings, we're talking about Tyreese Halliburton. And funny enough, the Kings have two All-Stars as of right now in the NBA. A lot of injury, a lot of resting and stuff going on. So a lot of other young stars are able to kind of rise up in the league and show their dominance, and that is exactly what Tyreese Halliburton is doing. And you guys know who the other guy is. I mean, you shouldn't. I don't think he needs any introduction. Tyreese Halliburton, a young guy out of Iowa State. I think that's really awesome that he's from Iowa State. I don't know what. Tough loss for Illinois, man. That's crazy. Iowa State's a pretty local college, somewhat. A lot of people from my schools and stuff go there. But yeah, let's kind of look at Halliburton's stats here. Just kind of go over them. I mean, he's averaging 14 points a game, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Again, a lot of injuries. He's going to be an all-star. Coming in at number 24 is his teammate, Darren Fox. I mean, very, very quick at the rim finisher. He does all sorts of things right for this organization. Darren Fox, the Sacramento Kings, is averaging 21 points a game, 4 boards, 5 assists. I think that's somewhat enough to make him an all-star. He's averaging 21 points a game. I think as of now, Darren Fox is an all-star, and so is Tyreese Halliburton. That will change next week. I think that's pretty much inevitable with people kind of coming back from injuries. KD's getting hurt, is hurt. KD's hurt. All sorts of people are getting hurt that are all-star level players, so the rankings are definitely going to change over time. But moving on to 23, I love how this guy is playing this year. Very bad Rockets team. I don't really want to talk about the team, but as of right now, Christian Wood of the Houston Rockets is an all-star. He's playing absolutely incredible. No complaints out of his game from me. I mean, Christian Wood. He played on the Pistons really good, and he's entering his prime, averaging 18 points a game, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 18 and 10. And the man is 6'9", 214. Like, he is like a shorter Kevin Durant, like frame-wise. He's literally a shorter Kevin Durant. He's like a 3 inches shorter Kevin Durant. Does he play like that? I wouldn't say so. I mean, he shoots he shoots somewhat efficient, but I don't know. Moving on. I like how Christian Wood is playing. He's a very much respected player. Moving on to 22, this guy has been on the list all year. We're talking about my boy on the fantasy team. And I think I have like 3 people on the fantasy team that are all stars. I think one of them is Jonas Valanciunas, which 3 on the all-star team on my team being an all-star is pretty decent. You want 3 or 4, like in an 8-man league in my case, you want 3 or 4 players on your team that are all-stars. We're talking about Jonas Valanciunas here. I mean, he's averaging 18 points a game, 12 rebounds, 2 assists. I mean, 18 and 12. Great big man. He can score from pretty much anywhere. Yes, the Pelicans are struggling. They just lost to my Celtics. Well, I'll talk about the Celtics, by the way, because we're finally turning our season around. I'll definitely talk a lot about the Celtics here today. But the Pelicans, they're struggling. I mean, you might as well. It's going to take you 56 games to get a 500 record. Think about that. At this point in the season, that's not even worth it. I don't know. Maybe rest Zion for the season. Who knows what they're going to do. Moving on at number 21, I mean, people are saying he's in the MVP conversation. I don't necessarily believe so, but he is still an all-star. We're talking about the Chicago Bulls. They really only have one all-star, and they're an amazing team. They just went on a big run, but they're very streaky. They went on a big run, then they got their ass kicked like 3 times in a row. It's pretty bad, but DeMar DeRozan is at the helm of this team, and he's definitely playing like an all-star. Averaging 26, 5 and 5. I mean, that's pretty good. DeMar DeRozan, man, he's killing it. Gotta love what he's doing for this organization. He can pretty much shoot from anywhere. He's definitely extending his range. He's making a lot of clutch shots this season. Yeah, you don't want the ball in his hands in the final seconds. Moving on to number 20, I mean, this guy's kind of fell off recently. But nonetheless, Miles Bridges of the Hornets is an all-star. I don't want to hear anything. He's better than DeMar DeRozan statistically. They just got done beating freaking the Knicks, and he had 38 points and 12 rebounds. My goodness, he went off in that game. I'm making this video kind of late, and I apologize because I kind of wish I were to make it earlier, but I gotta leave here in like an hour, 25 minutes. I gotta head on the road and go watch the football game in my dorm, which I'm really, really excited about. I'm rooting for the Rams. You know, he's averaging 20 points a game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. I think that's a pretty good stat line, and that's an all-star caliber. That's a most improved caliber for season for Bridges. Moving on to number 19, Mini Drake. I mean, of the Toronto Raptors. We're talking about Fred VanVleet. I mean, this guy is playing at such a high level. He's easily top 20 in the league. If he doesn't get All-Star, that's going to be one of the biggest snubs I've ever seen. I mean, averaging 20 points a game, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. I mean, that's really good. Yeah, I mean, he's top 20 in both passing and scoring. That's not easy to do. Obviously, he plays the point guard, but actually, he's a shooting guard. He's not even a point guard. He doesn't even bring the ball up most of the time. But yeah, we're talking about Fred VanVleet here. Good Raptors team. I'm really hyped for how the Raptors are playing right now, and I'm rooting for them. I want these Raptors to be good. You know, they don't really have any star guys out there, so you know. Let's look at the Hornets here real quick. Hornets are playing good as well. I need to start talking about the teams more. Next to number 18. You know, obviously, at some points, this guy's a top 10 player in the NBA, but because of injuries, of course, we kind of have to bump him down a little bit. We're talking about Joel Embiid. We're talking about total fantasy points. Joel Embiid is 18th in the league. You know, he's averaging 27 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. Absolutely phenomenal player. He just hasn't had enough time to show this year. He's leading the Sixers, doing an absolutely amazing record, and they just lost a game. But to be honest with you, the Wizards needed it a little more than the Sixers did. Sixers are maintaining a really good record with the Ben Simmons drama, so that's a big storyline in the NBA this year. Yeah, moving on to number 17. Damn. We have another member of this young Charlotte Hornets squad. We're talking about LaMelo Ball, you know, coming out here averaging 19, 7, and 8. I think that's a pretty good stat line for him. He came out, he had like 12, 17, and 9. I think he gets the Knicks. He can get some triple doubles every now and then for sure. You can definitely count on him to do that. I mean, he's top 45 in every single statistical category. What more do you want out of him? That's really good. That's just consistency. That's a young guy coming out in his sophomore year. I don't think he's having a most improved sophomore year because his rookie year was stellar, but he's coming out and playing some great basketball here. And he's a really fun guy to watch. He makes all sorts of great passes and all that stuff. But anyways, let's move on to number 16. And we're going to talk about this Jazz team because they're still playing at a really high level. They're playing the Lakers tonight, which the Lakers have been struggling. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But the Jazz have been playing great. You know, you got a Donovan Mitchell averaging 26 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, he's an absolutely incredible player. He's borderline top 15, which, I mean, he may or may not make an All-NBA team. We'll just have to see how the season goes for him. But top 15 is pretty much All-NBA players, and we're about to get into those. But congratulations to the Jazz for a great year so far. Coming in at number 15 is a big man. He's been a dominant big man for a while. I actually saw a TikTok about a guy telling a story of him playing in high school, and I thought it was very, very interesting. We're talking about the Dominican Republic big man, the babyface. We're talking about Karl Anthony Towns of the Timberwolves, and he is definitely an All-NBA player. Maybe not a high All-NBA player, but he is definitely on that list. You know, when you average 25 points a game, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, you're almost bound to be up there. And yeah, the Timberwolves are a struggling team this year, but you know what? Karl Anthony Towns plays with a fire. He plays with great energy. He's a great scorer. He's a great defender. He does everything you'd want a big man to do, and I'm happy for how he's playing this season. Moving on to number 14, the veteran point guard. And, I mean, the fact that this guy has stayed healthy the whole season is really the big reason that he's here. It's Chris Paul. Chris Paul is an All-NBA player this year. He's just kept up the consistency, led the Suns to a 33-9 record, and don't even say Devin Booker is the best player on the team, because I don't even think it's close, honestly. I mean, yeah, he might be in the conversation a little bit, but I think Chris Paul is easily the leader of this team. You know, when they're averaging 14 points, 4 boards, 10 assists, again, He's the second best passer in the league. I think someone passed him up actually, but obviously the rebounding is going to be an issue. The scoring's not that good, but he can pass the ball around. He's a very good facilitator. He's a very good leader. He's been doing it for a while, so you got to be happy for a guy like Chris Paul. Moving on to number 13. I mean, this Knicks team, we're talking about the Knicks right now. They're mediocre right now. I wouldn't say they're good or bad. I think they're just mediocre right now for their talents. I mean, they could be a little better, I guess. But Julius Randle, 19 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists a game. Just got done losing. I think he needs to be scoring more. I think if Julius Randle scores more, he'd be higher on this list. But again, this just shows he's an all NBA level player. Julius Randle is playing pretty phenomenal this season. So, yeah. It's not a good season, but it's also not a bad season for the Knicks so far. I mean, they're fighting for that play-in spot. As long as they get there, we'll see what they do from there. I mean, Julius Randle can hit shots from any spot. He's pretty clutch. I mean, you get him in those positions, and he's going to knock them down. So, on that note, we're going to move on to number 12. Big man who has gotten hurt recently, and again, this is why what I've been talking about earlier, stars getting hurt, kind of giving others an opportunity. At one point, Rudy Gobert was like a top 5 player in the NBA. For like a slight bit. You know, when you average 16 points, 15 rebounds, and an assist, of course the passing does not matter. 16 and 15, I mean, he gets it done. And I never even talk about defense when I talk about Gobert. He averages a steal and 2 blocks. Like, he is a defensive force. He is the pure big man. He doesn't shoot outside the paint. That's just the pure big man. That's just the old school, the traditional big man. And Rudy Gobert plays that position well. I think he's going to be out for a decent amount of time. I don't know when he's going to play next. Maybe he is playing again. But just know he's an All-NBA player this year, and you guys can't really argue with it. And he's easily top 3 center in the league. Moving on here to number 11. Another guy like Embiid, like, they should be top 10 realistically. He is very borderline top 10, and for how many games he's played, he's had an absolutely incredible season. We're talking about, of course, LeBron James coming in at 11. Just a good player. He's just playing great on a bad team. He's playing great. When you're averaging 29 points a game, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. I mean, those are MVP level numbers. Obviously, he hasn't played enough games to attain the MVP votes. And he's top 40 in every statistical category. So he's day to day. He's dealing with a couple injuries right now. He definitely needs to come back and play because this Lakers team is struggling. You know, Russell Westbrook's on the follow-up, but remember, he is still an All-NBA player, and we're going to talk about him here in a little bit. Coming in at number 10 is a guy where, you know, he was on the MVP ladder, and no doubt about that he was for some moments. We got Steph Curry of these Warriors. I mean, really doesn't matter if you're MVP or not, going 31-12. Because, I mean, if you really want to bring record into account, then Chris Paul is an easy contender. I mean, he's only 3 places down from Curry, 3 or 4 places. Curry's averaging 26 points, 5 boards, 6 assists. I think that's pretty good numbers there. Again, Curry is another day-to-day player, so we'll just have to see how these stars fare. And the Warriors are like 10 games away from clinching a winning season. Isn't that crazy? 10 wins away already. We're not even an All-Star break, and I'm really excited for All-Star break, by the way. I think that's going to be great. Yeah, Steph Curry. Just expect more good games from him. Hopefully he moves up a little more, but top 10 is considerable for MVP. We're talking about, at number 9 here, one of my favorite players in the league that's not a Celtic. He's my favorite player in the league that's not a Celtic, but Hawks are a lost cause. I don't know what happened. Trae Young, man. I don't know what happened to these Hawks, but just know that Trae Young's having an amazing season, averaging 28 points a game, 4 boards, 9 assists. Again, he's going to maintain that top 5 in scoring and passing number, I feel like, for the rest of the year. He's top 10 in everything but rebounding, and who gives a fuck about rebounding when you have Clint Capella and John Collins and, like, all those guys under the rim. I think Dwayne Dedmon's been getting minutes recently. You got a lot of big men there getting rebounds, so there's nothing that Trae Young needs to worry about on the boards, but they do need to start winning games. They got a tough game. Man, unfortunately, they play the Bucks tonight. I mean, they just can't get a break on their schedule, and I really want to see Trae Young succeed, but it's hard. I mean, got a lot of hard matchups this year. They got a tough schedule. But anyways, let's move on to supposedly the worst player in the league according to a lot of weirdos. We got Russell Westbrook here, but he's a top 10 player still. Like, he's still maintaining a healthy season. He's playing a lot of games. He's getting in there. He's getting some. He's helping the Lakers. I mean, they could be worse than this without Russell Westbrook. Do you think LeBron could be leading the Lakers to a better record without Russell? I don't think so. I don't agree, so I think that's kind of blasphemous if you really look at what Russell Westbrook's doing this year, averaging 19 points a game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. The baby is crying upstairs. I apologize if you guys hear it. Lakers are struggling, and tonight is a big redemption game. They could play the Jazz and win. Jazz are a very hard team to beat, but they could do it. I mean, Russell Westbrook's just got to keep playing, maintain that tempo, and we got a guy on another bad team. I mean, obviously, when you're on a bad team, you're going to be one of the better players in the league. We got Domantas Sabonis averaging 19 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. Those are great numbers. Again, he's a top 40 in every category player. There's not a lot of players in the league you can say that about. Yeah, there's not a lot. They are currently losing to the Clippers. This team is a lost cause. They're kind of in that Pelicans position. I mean, they're not going to have a really good season. It's just a mediocre organization. I mean, the Pacers cannot get this man Sabonis help. They got him off the Thunder. They tried to build him as a franchise player, and of course that didn't work. I don't know what they're going to do. They have a decent team to have a good season, but they just never perform. I don't really get it. I don't understand how you can't perform with. I mean, let's look at their roster here. You have Domantas Sabonis, Torrey Craig, Karis LeVert, Brissett, Goga Batazde, Chris Duarte, Lance Stevenson. Yeah, it's not the best team of all time. You got Justin Holiday, I believe. See, like, they're starting. Denzel Washington, Dwayne Washington. I think I remember actually watching him in college or something. But obviously you don't have Miles Turner, you don't have Malcolm Brogdon, guys like that. Like, this team should be better, and they've had those guys for parts of the year. And this is why I'm kind of complaining, because I want the Pacers to succeed. I mean, obviously they're a big playoff matchup against the Celtics year in and year out, but I think it's a team that deserves success. Like, they got some players to do it, they just don't go out there and do it. Speaking of my Celtics, let's go ahead and talk about Jason Tatum. Of the Celtics, of Duke, my favorite player in the NBA. He is sixth. He is all NBA. He's an MVP. He's an MVP conversation guy. He's not a candidate. He's in the conversation. Averaging 26 points a game, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, he's consistent. He's top 55 in everything. And that's so hard to do. He just got done putting up 27 against a bad Pelicans team, but that really propelled the Boston Celtics into a winning season, which I'm happy about. Just a young guy we build a franchise around. We get Jaylen Brown back, and all of a sudden we start playing good again, and that's awesome. I love seeing those two bounce off each other. They've had chemistry issues in the past, but obviously now they're playing at a very high level, and I'm happy for him. Obviously, Jaylen Brown is not an all-star with all the games he's missed, and I'm not going to admit he's an all-star or anything. Or I'm not going to try to be biased, and say he's an all-star. But Jason Tatum has definitely been playing like that guy. I mean, who else has been playing? Who else played good in our game today? You know, we went up against Brandon Ingram putting up 15 and 10, Valanciunas putting up 22 and 14. And, you know, we had Tatum put up 27, Schroeder put up 23, Jaylen Brown put up 23. I mean, Schroeder's like a really good third option. I think the Celtics have a good future. I mean, they're already playing good. They don't need much improvement, but they got to keep going. It's a long season moving on into the top 5. These are, like, heavy MVP guys. All these guys are at least in the candidacy. Like, we're talking about Kevin Durant, who just got hurt. 4 to 6 weeks. That's not good. 4 to 6 weeks he's out. I don't like that for my fantasy team. I don't like that for Kevin Durant's legacy on this season. But he's still a top 5 player in the league, averaging 29 a game, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Top 40 in every category. You're another one of those guys. You're being the best scorer in the league. You're top 5 in efficiency. I mean, he's out. But what he's been doing over the whole season has gotten him enough at this point to be a top 5 player. Now that will change next week because we got a lot of people taking opportunities of his injury to kind of bounce up there. And he might even be kicked out of the top 25. I don't know. But they lost. They just got done losing to the Cavs, and we actually have another guy to talk about of his teammates. But first, we have one of the most underrated players in the league, and it's crazy because he's having a most improved season. Underrated top 5 player in the NBA, and nobody wants to talk about him. Of course, he's on a terrible San Antonio team, but we're talking about DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray isn't necessarily an MVP candidate, but he's having just a phenomenal season. He's fourth in the league. And like total stats, like 19 points a game, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, a damn near triple double every game if you really watch him. He's top 30. He is top 30 in every category. So I don't know. People kind of sleep on him. There's not a lot of people that are top 30 in every category. I get the top 40 part. We talked about that earlier in the video with a bunch of guys, but top 30 in every category, that is not easy to do. I mean, he's 6'4", and top 25 rebounder in the league. He could be a starting center for a team, like statistically. Maybe not a good team, but I mean, man, good game against the Suns tonight. I think he'll play good. He might not score as much as he usually does, but he'll play good. Moving on to the MVP candidates, and I don't think these should have any doubt in people's minds. I mean, people are like, oh, Curry. Let's just keep throwing Curry's name around, even though statistically he's not an MVP candidate. And the first guy we're talking about is 27-16, and it's because of him and Kevin Durant. But James Harden is the biggest reason the Nets are 27-16. You can't even say KD, because statistically this man is up there, man. 23 points a game, 8 rebounds, 10 assists. This guy's top 30 in every category. That's a top 5 like fucking level player. I mean, he just goes out, he gets buckets, he passes the ball around. I mean, he's 6'5", getting 8 rebounds a game, kind of like DeJounte Murray. I mean, there's guards that get rebounds. That's crazy. And it's not like they're giving him the rebounds because the other team's playing the damn game too. So that argument's invalid as well. Let's just get into the top 2 here, because I don't really want to dwell on this video too long. We got Giannis. Giannis isn't the MVP of the league right now. Maybe the record says so at 27-18. He's the best MVP candidate in terms of record, but I don't know. 29 points a game, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. He's top 20. He's top 20 in every category, and he's top 6+ in everything but passing. And has Giannis ever been known to pass? No. And he's still passing like a starting forward, a starting point guard on a team that's damn near in the playoffs. Like, that's how he's passing right now. He's unreal. He is an animal. Giannis is an animal. He's not the MVP of the league right now, statistically, but if the season ended right now, I think they'd most likely give him MVP. So let's move on to the MVP, and then, yeah, Nikola Jokic. I mean, I don't think he needs an introduction. The team is 22-20. The fact that the Nuggets, in the situation they're in, is having a winning season without MPJ, Jamal Murray. Those two guys alone, that makes up the big three. Nikola Jokic is out here playing with fucking who the hell is Jokic playing with right now? You know, who's even good on his team? He's out here playing with like Aaron Gordon, and that's about it. Aaron Gordon's literally his only other good teammate that's been playing right now. And he still leads them to a 22-20 record. Yeah, I mean, I understand, like, again, the team is not good. I understand this. Well, they are a good team. You know what? The Nuggets are considered a good team in my eyes. But his surrounding pieces aren't good, but they're good because of Jokic. They're a G League team without Jokic, and that's an MVP. He's averaging 25 a game, 14 rebounds, 7 assists. He's top 10 in every category. Giannis was top 20. Harden was top 30. Jokic is top 20. I mean, that's incredible. That's just how the MVP race should be going. He's top 10 in every category, and he's played pretty much the whole season. Statistically, he's the MVP, but will the NBA give him MVP? No, they're going to give it to Giannis as of now. Giannis or Harden. It could go in between Giannis and Harden right now. NBA just doesn't look at the facts, and I'm here to give you guys the facts. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. I do this once every week. We're going to have the NFL recap later tonight. Not a lot of videos this week. Tomorrow we're going to have our Guardians of the Galaxy video. Wednesday we're going to have Madden. Thursday we're going to have new music. Friday more music. And possibly some other stuff. I'll have to see. Saturday, horror movie review. Maybe some more music. I don't know. Sunday, album or horror movie or movie review. Marvel Avengers. That's going to wrap it up for the video. It's been GZTV as always, bringing you guys this sports content. I think it's somewhat top tier. I mean, hate on me if you want for my takes and stuff, but I'm going to give you guys my opinions. I don't give a fuck what you think. Like, This is what I think. I think Jokic statistically is the MVP, but realistically it's Giannis. That's just my stance right now. So